channel. Something a little bit different. For today's video I want to see or show you how I'm going to basically clean up this pretty old hand plane. It's a Union 110, and my understanding of these is that Union was bought out by Stanley around the early 19th century, which means that this little sucker here is around the 19th century. So we're looking at over 100 years old at least. Now, if you're following my Instagram page, you'll notice that I do have quite a few different photos of planes and saws that I've started to collect over the last 12 months or so. And the idea here is to restore these old tools, or should I say clean them up, so that I can use them. And I'll start doing things like making furniture and so on. And there's a much larger project that I've got in mind over the next few years. But anyway, I'll start pulling this thing apart and you'll see what condition this is in. It looks like it's been kind of in a bucket of water or something, because there's certainly plenty of surface rust on there. Nice little solid timber knob there, and that just gets screwed on directly. So my intention is just to try to get rid of all this surface rust. I'm not even going to paint it, I'm just going to leave it as is, just clean it all up, put it back together, obviously sharpen the blade, and yeah, get it ready for use. So what I've done is, after I've given it a go with the wire brush and a whole range of other tools, I've now got it to a point where I've given it a little bit of the phosphoric acid treatment. So that's why it's given me that kind of mottled look. And now what I'm doing is I'm using this is my, pretty much my tile that I use when I'm sharpening the blades, but I also have used it, as I'm using now, to give it a sanding so that I can keep the base true. I'm not planning at all to paint it or anything like that. All I'm trying to do is just to kind of give it a clean up, and then I'll sharpen the blades and so on. So I'll do the same. I'll treat this to a sanding, and I've already given this a treatment with a little bit of linseed oil. Effectively just doing that on both sides. And this is 120 grit, but of course once you start using it, it becomes finer. So it's actually quite good just to initially use it to get rid of all the main crud. And I'll do the same with the blade. I'll just give it a bit of a sanding and so on and so forth. Okay, so nothing too difficult. The other tools that I've used are pretty much that. Wire brush, little copper brush here, and of course So I've got it pretty square, but now what I've got to do is I've got to resharpen it so I can put a new you can see it's blunt as, but it's okay. We're getting there. Sharp, and what I just do is obviously have to work this bevel back down, but I effectively just kind of find that position, and you can feel it by just lifting up and down where the blade hits, and then I'm just going to go up and down on the sandpaper. Obviously one hand to hold the sandpaper in place and another one just working it up and down like that. And once I've got that done, then I use a finer sandpaper, which is like a 400, then a 600, then a 1200, and I also go to the strop to finish it off. So I worked it down to fine coarse. So I've got a nice bevel in there, very sharp. So now the next step is just to apply a little bit of stropping action on that one, and we should be fine. That can go and work as is. I'll test it out, of course. That took quite a while. I had to really get rid of the imperfections on the edge there, and keep squaring it up to make sure that it was nice and square. So I'm quite happy with that. A few passes of the strop, and she's mirror finish.